So it's a lot less nerve-wracking when there's about a third as many people here, so this is good. Back in the summer of 2012, on probably my 10th or 11th read of the playbook, I was pretty much a playbook groupie, and I saw play number 28 was Innovation Hub and Tech District, and I said, let's start the Kansas City Startup Village. So I know, no, that's not how it started, but so the village, as most people know, is this organic kind of grassroots thing that just kind of grew out of a bunch of serendipitous things. And I remember back in the fall of 12, we were meeting weekly, and it was, there's a handful of us, including Aaron and Cameron Cushman, and we're like, all right, there's the first neighborhood that got Google Fiber, there's all these startups here, like what do we do? How do we capitalize on all this energy that's surrounding this little area? And little did we know that now, in about 3 years later, there's 12 properties within 2 blocks with about 30 startups, and by the end of the year we will have 5 startups that have outgrown the village and moved to traditional offices in other parts of the city. We've had over $15 million invested in those companies. We've had, at one point we counted 70 jobs, who knows where we're at now. And Mike totally stole my thunder earlier, and I called him out a little bit, but over 70 countries have been represented on tours in the village. We've had dozens of busloads of students come through, and we do a little tour that the neighborhood is not liked, but we've dealt with that as well. And we do panel discussions with entrepreneurs, and Dane talked about the full stack, and I think the thing with the village that I've been most excited about to be able to provide for the community is kind of this conversation starter for the full stack. I mean, we've had civic leaders, we'd have corporate leaders, we have students and international delegates and senators and congressmen and mayors from around the country, and it's just fun to be able to be one of the many representatives in Kansas City to be able to tell this story of, formerly what was perceived as a cow town, and is now this place. It's a tech tourist destination now. There's literally a fiber tourist room in the Homes for Hackers house that is always full with people literally coming to Kansas City, looking on Airbnb and staying in a fiber room because they want to see what's up. And so that's really exciting. And we've fought tooth and nail to stay organic and not organized, and now we've gotten to the point where we realize we kind of need to. So now you have CEED that's come around to kind of provide some structure, and the foundation, and now we have the Village Square, which actually provides a little hub for activity, and we aren't having huge tours smash into houses anymore. So it's cool to see the growth of the village, which I think has paralleled the growth of Kansas City, and Drew said it great, and I say this all the time. I mean, every important thing that we talk about that's been a national talk point, whether it's Google Fiber or Cisco Smart City or the Village or Think Big's new building or on and on and on and on, none of those things existed 4 years ago. 1 million cups. None of them did. And now we have this book we could write over what it takes to build this vibrant tech innovation and entrepreneurial community. So it's really, really exciting to be a part of it. I literally, that's what I do full time. I love it, and it's so cool to have grown up here and see the city we've become. And I always say Kansas City is my startup, and I'm so glad that so many of you kind of think that same way, and excited to be a part of it.
Thanks, Adam. Adam and I threatened that since we were the last group doing this, that we were going to do the nene, but he does the nene better than me. The white man better than a black woman doing the nene, but he does better than us. So anyway, but this is such an exciting time, and I know why Aaron selected me for last, because the last is not the least, it's really the most important. Thanks, Aaron. But again, the most, as I looked at the speech, by the way, I'm Cheptoo Kositany-Buckner, the Deputy Director of the Kansas City Public Library. Very exciting to be here tonight. And one of the things that is important, we've talked about startup companies, KC Digital Drive, the Village, and that kind of thing. But libraries have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years and are doing the things that we're talking about, which is bridging the digital divide since the 90s when technology began. We continue to do that, but we are not just standby and just doing the boring things. We are really innovative. One of the things that this Kansas City Public Library was able to do with partners in the room, KC Digital Drive and that kind of thing, 30 seconds is not gonna happen, sorry, honey. But anyway, so what Kansas City and partners, Aaron Deacon really being a great partner with this, is that one of the innovative things with the library has done is with the gigabit, being a gigabit city, one of the innovative things that we've done is developing a software lending library. The idea that you can check out software in your home, in your office, using your gigabit, and it's not only part of innovation, but it's also part of bridging the digital divide. Think about an architect, a student that come out of architecture school that wants to form their own company, and they cannot afford a CAD program. Could they check out and actually have that software with their company to do it at the library? It's innovative, but it's also inclusive, and it's also bridging the digital divide. The library also has been this place of community building. When the Gigabit City was announced, we were the place for conversation of how we could move this community forward. Work with KC Digital Drive. I remember, I think they were called the social media group at that particular time, before Aaron became the KC Digital Drive. But I just want to say the library is very critical in your communities. Whatever cities you are in, Mission Hill, Independence, KCK, Kansas City, that always think about your libraries, and they're not a stepchild. They're really critical in economic development, workforce development in what we do. We've also been a major bridge to the digital divide since the 90s. Something where we have free public Wi-Fi in our libraries. People are sitting in our parking lots after the libraries are closed to use the Wi-Fi. We have public access computers where we have to limit them for 45 minutes because people are waiting. We have computers that are reserved for just job applications because we feel that is important and they should not fight for general use and that kind of thing. Libraries are very, very critical for that particular piece. And let me tell you something that we've been doing with KC Digital Drive and the community is there's a big problem in our city with digital divide, huge. And I'll just say one number. I could sit here tonight, since I have the microphone last, I could talk all night. But the biggest thing that we have in our region, a statistics that is out there that everybody should be concerned about, is that 70%, 70% of the kids who attend the Kansas City school district system do not have internet access at home. 70%. Think about that number. Of that same student body, 40% have more than one address during the course of the school year. If you're talking about economic development, if you're talking about workforce development, if you're talking about education, if you're talking about building the future generation and the workforce for this city, we've got to fix that problem as a community. And so one of the things that the library has done with this partnership with the Digital Inclusion Coalition is we have a pilot project to check out mobile hotspots to these kids for the duration of the school year. Now we have 25 mobile hotspots to do it for families. We want to increase that because, again, if we don't do anything, you have 70% of the kids that are not able to do their homework at home, that they are not able to succeed from a school district that is already being challenged. Think about that. This is the work that I know Aaron has talked about all of the things, but I'm here for his spokesperson to talk about what KC Digital Drive is doing about digital inclusion. I'm Aaron Deacon for digital inclusion for KC Digital Drive today. So that is very, very important. I think the other thing that you have to think about is that this city has got a national leadership when it comes to the digital divide and broadband adoption. The Kansas City Public Library, a number of players, Connecting for Good, they're not here. We are a founding council of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. This is an alliance that was formed because it was motivated and inspired for what we are doing here. My boss, Crosby Kemper, is the chair of the Shelby, is on the board of the Shelby Coalition. Shelby means schools, hospital, libraries for broadband coalition and that kind of thing. We are leaders, Kansas City. We are leaders from the gigabit, digital inclusion, economic development, entrepreneurship, and we've got to continue building that. And Aaron, thank you for letting me be last.